Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into something you've probably been seeing all over the news, the US government shutdown of 2025. Now, before you start picturing some kind of apocalypse movie, let's break this down into what it actually means, and trust me, there are some surprising, almost bizarre details you won't want to miss. So, what exactly is a government shutdown? Imagine this. You're binge-watching your favorite show. You're on the cliffhanger episode, and suddenly, your internet cuts out because the bill wasn't paid. Connection lost. That's essentially what happens to the US government. When Congress can't agree on a spending plan, the money tap gets turned off. No money, no operations. A massive portion of the government hits the pause button. But here's where it gets interesting. The entire country doesn't just grind to a halt. Essential services, the ones we really can't do without, keep running. We're talking about the military, air traffic control, border security, and emergency services. These are the must-haves that stay online. However, a huge number of other departments and agencies have to lock their doors and send their employees home. This is where the real impact starts to show, and some of the consequences are just wild. Let's start with my favorite one, NASA. Yes, the space agency. During a shutdown, NASA has to put a lot of its incredible work on hold. This could mean delaying rocket launches, halting astronaut training, or even freezing critical space science missions. Can you imagine being an astronaut, training your whole life for a mission to space, only to be told, sorry, we've got a budget issue. We'll give you a call once the politicians figure it out. It's like putting the entire universe on hold because of paperwork. Space exploration literally gets a stop sign. It's not just the final frontier that gets grounded. Back here on Earth, our national parks and museums also have to close. Think about that for a second. Iconic, breathtaking places like the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, or Zion National Park become off-limits. World-famous institutions like the Smithsonian Museums in Washington, D.C. shut their doors. Millions of tourists, many of whom have traveled from across the globe, arrived to find nothing but a closed sign. That's a pretty disappointing vacation photo. This doesn't just ruin trips. It devastates the small businesses, the hotels, restaurants, and souvenir shops that depend on that tourism. Of course, the most direct impact is on the federal workers themselves. Hundreds of thousands of government employees are deemed non-essential and are sent home without pay. This is called a furlough. Imagine suddenly losing your income with no idea when it will return. Now, what about the essential workers? The air traffic controllers, TSA agents, and Border Patrol who have to keep showing up to work? Well, here's the tough part. They have to work, but they often don't get paid until asterisk. After asterisk, the shutdown ends. They're working for weeks, sometimes over a month, on an IOU from the government. That's an unbelievable amount of stress for any family to handle. Here's a little historical perspective for you. The longest government shutdown in U.S. history lasted a whopping 35 days back in 2018 and 2019. That's more than a month of government services being frozen. Economists estimated that this shutdown cost the U.S. economy billions of dollars in lost productivity, canceled contracts, and reduced consumer spending. It's like pressing pause on a giant economic engine. Let's try another analogy. Imagine if a service you use every day, like your favorite streaming platform, suddenly announced, hey, our executives can't agree on what new shows to produce, so we're shutting down the entire platform until they do. No new content, no library, nothing. You'd probably be pretty annoyed, right? Now, magnify that feeling for people who rely on federal services for their livelihoods, their research grants, or even just planning a family trip. But it's important to remember that not everything stops. It's not a total blackout. The U.S. Postal Service, which is self-funded, keeps delivering your mail. Social Security and Medicare checks still go out because they're funded through a different process. And as we mentioned, the military doesn't just pack up and go home. So, it's more like walking through a house where some rooms have the lights on, while others are completely dark, waiting for someone to flip the main breaker back on. So, why should this matter to you? Even if you're not a federal employee or planning a trip to a national park, because the effects ripple out. A shutdown creates uncertainty, and uncertainty is bad for the economy. Businesses delay investments, consumers spend less, and crucial scientific and medical research gets put on the back burner. It is a self-inflicted disruption that touches nearly every corner of American life in ways we see. So, to sum it all up, the 2025 government shutdown is a funding freeze caused by political gridlock. It puts incredible things like space exploration and our national treasures on hold. It places immense financial strain on hundreds of thousands of workers, and it sends disruptive ripples throughout the entire economy. It's a costly, frustrating, and, when you really think about it, a pretty strange way to run a country. Now, I want to hear from you. This is a fun thought experiment. If you had the power to keep just one of these non-essential departments open during a shutdown, which would you save? Would it be NASA, so we can keep exploring the stars? The national parks, to protect our natural wonders? Or the museums, to preserve our culture and history? Drop your choice in the comments below, and let's see which one gets the most votes. Thanks so much for watching and for getting informed with us. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next video. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.